Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Rob of Rule of 2 Review. Welcome back, and today let's talk about Nintendo Switch in 2019. So today is October 2nd, and man, we are creeping up on the new year. It feels insane to think that 2019 is actually upon us. We're in officially the last quarter of the year, which is pretty crazy. It's definitely exciting. It's always a good time because, of course, the big holiday rush of games releases starts to come, and everyone gets really excited about that. We've actually had a lot of fantastic games release recently. Games like Spider-Man and Assassin's Creed, Mega Man 11, Tomb Raider. Later this month, games like Starlink and Super Mario Party, Red Dead Redemption, Call of Duty, all of those start to come out this month, and then, of course, November and December. And it's insane. It's an awesome time of year, but that also means we kind of start looking ahead at the next year, at 2019. And I always really enjoy doing that because this is kind of the period where we can start to reflect on the prior year, everything that's happened in 2018 so far, and, like I said, put our eyes towards the future at what happens once we finally reach 2019. Now, of course, when we look at the Nintendo Switch, it's in a very unique position, and I think it's kind of a fun position to sort of break down and dissect. 2017, the launch year for the Switch, is very notable for a few reasons. One of them, of course, was the weird time of year that the console launched, that being March. You really don't see that happen much anymore, but Nintendo took a gamble, and it paid off, which is pretty cool. And one of the things that allowed us to have was almost a full year of new releases for a brand new console within that same calendar year. Typically, with consoles releasing near the end of the year, means you only get, 5, 6, 8 weeks or so of that year for new releases for the new console until you make it past the new year into the following year. But 2017 for the Switch was very different. And on top of that, as we all know, it brought a ton of heavy hitters. When we look at just exclusive and mostly first-party content that released for the Nintendo Switch in 2017, its launch year, it was out of this world. Many people said it was one of the best years a console has ever had. I also discussed that as well. I think it's possibly the best single year Nintendo as a company has ever had in terms of releasing games, as well as a new console, and that console itself being successful. It was just out of this world when it comes to Nintendo and their success, and the launch library, that launch year library for the Nintendo Switch. Of course, here we are in the waning hours of 2018, and 2018 has sort of been the polar opposite as far as what 2017 accomplished. And while I think the year has been fine overall, I know some people get a little defensive and sensitive about this, and I understand why. But if you really stop and look at what happened in 2018, it really isn't super impressive as far as the Nintendo Switch goes. I think as a whole, the year has been one of the best years the gaming industry has ever had. I have had consistent stuff to play across all three platforms all year, and I've loved it. But the Switch hasn't had a whole lot of huge hitters. I mean, it started with Kirby early on in the year, which really wasn't a big hit. Not super exciting for me personally, even though I know a lot of you guys might have liked it. Octopath Traveler was insanely good. I mean, that game alone almost saved the year as far as I'm concerned. Now we get to the point where, like I mentioned earlier, Super Mario Party is coming pretty soon. Not a super heavy hitter, but probably going to be a pretty good game. And then, of course, we do finish off very strong with the Let's Go Pokemon games, and then, of course, Smash Ultimate, which is probably going to be one of the biggest titles released in the entire industry all year. But again, when you look at 2018 as a whole, it's been much slower for the Switch, both in terms of first-party output and exclusive or even third-party content across the board. It's just been a slow year, and that is what it is, which is where we then start to turn our eyes back to next year, 2019, right around the corner, and even right now, several months before the year begins, 2019 is already shaping up to be at least 3 times as awesome of a year as 2018 has been, specifically for the Switch. So what I'm kind of trying to do in this video is really compare the incredible 2017 launch year for the Nintendo Switch and the really awesome looking 2019, otherwise basically year 3, for the Nintendo Switch, starting in a couple of months. When you compare these two, and you look at how what Nintendo did with the Switch's launch year is almost unprecedented in terms of how many amazing games, first-party, exclusive games came out for the Switch. I mean, it's just insane. When you compare what they did in 2017 to what we can expect in 2019, is 2019 going to be even better than that legendary 2017 launch year? And I kind of think there's a good chance, but let's kind of break down some of the titles and really start to explore it. So when we look at what happened in 2017 for the Nintendo Switch, again, an amazing launch year for any console, probably Nintendo's best year to date. Let's take a look at everything that released in that year. As far as the big, notable heavy hitters that are exclusive games to the Nintendo Switch in 2017, obviously we have Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, ARMS, Mario Kart 8, Mario plus Rabbids, Fire Emblem Warriors, Fast RMX, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And those are just the big heavy hitters that jump right off the page and jump right out of our brains, as we know, as huge games, and games that helped solidify the console as an awesome piece of hardware that everyone needs to own, a return to form for Nintendo, both in terms of how great the Switch is, as well as how good their game output is, their software development. I mean, I've said this so many times, and I'm going to say it again. The Nintendo that right now is developing games as groundbreaking as Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey is one of the best points in history of Nintendo's development we've ever seen. This Nintendo is kicking ass and taking names, and it is like a whole new level of game development, and I'm really happy with what they're doing there. And so that set the stage for an awesome console and an awesome launch lineup year. I mean, again, we've almost never seen anything like that. But let's take a look at what we know is coming in 2019, as well as a little bit of what we might be able to expect. Now, 2019 for the Nintendo Switch, year 3, is so far set up with a lot of great confirmed games. What we already know 3 months before the year begins are confirmed games. We have the humongous brand new actual Pokemon game. We have Fire Emblem. We have Animal Crossing. We have Daemon X Machina. We've got Yoshi's Crafted World. We have Luigi's Mansion 3, and a smaller game that I'm throwing in more as a fan game, not because it's going to be a big heavy hitter, but for myself, No More Heroes Travis Strikes Again is a game that I am pumped. I mean, over the moon, losing my mind for. Even though I know it's a weird No More Heroes game, but still, I'm just going to say I'm a huge fan, and I'm very excited for that game. So that is an incredible list of already confirmed games to know about even before the year begins. Then, of course, there are some X Factor titles, and we know what those are. 2 games that have a great chance at being 2019, but are not yet confirmed, and we have to remember that they're not yet confirmed. Metroid Prime 4, my baby, has a good chance at being next year. And then, of course, Bayonetta 3, I think also has a great chance of being next year. And that, in and of itself, almost rivals, matches, or I mean, I might even think it probably exceeds what 2017 did right there. So if Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta got added to that insane list of games, and if every one of those games also sticks to 2019, then I think 2019 will probably be the better year. Granted, I'm also a Metroid fanboy, as most of you know, so just, you know, by default, throwing Metroid into that year means I'm probably going to enjoy it more. But I think even if we stepped away from, like, my fanship of that one game, and you look at the idea of a Pokemon, a Fire Emblem, an Animal Crossing, a Metroid, and a Bayonetta all releasing in the same year, I mean, that's pretty tough to beat, man. And granted, having Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey in one year and Xenoblade is also really tough to beat. So it becomes a really excellent battle. But there's a couple of other things I want to talk about when it comes to 2019 too. One of them, I know some people may be controversial, but hear me out on this one. I think we have to consider Smash Bros. Ultimate a little bit, and the reason I say that is because, as we all know, Smash releases on December 7th this year, literally 3 weeks before 2019 begins. And while the official launch date is a 2019 date, I think what's important to consider is that we will, all of us, be playing Smash Bros. Ultimate like it's still brand spanking new, blowing our minds, still unlocking characters and trophies and surprises and Easter eggs and stages. We'll still all be doing that even into 2019. It is going to feel like a brand new, fresh game. Just 2 or 3 weeks later, it'll be 2019. So Smash is a 2018 release, but we will be experiencing it like it's brand new in the year of 2019. And it may sound kind of silly, and I'm not going to consider it a 2019 game, but I do think when we think about our gaming experiences on the Switch in 2019, I think it's important to remember that Smash is going to factor in to the 2019 gaming year. Another game to bring up is the new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe that's coming out in January for the Switch. I'm not personally excited for it, and to be fair, it is only a remaster, you know, a deluxe redo of a Wii U game. But I do think it's going to sell well, and Mario Kart 8 was the same thing in 2017 for the Switch, and it was a massive reason that that system got off to such a great start. having Breath of the Wild launch the system, and then the following month, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe comes out and sells like 10 million units or something. I mean, let's be real. Mario Kart 8 is a huge reason the Switch was so successful right out of the gate. And so I think that, factoring in another Mario Wii U Deluxe remaster is important to do for 2019. And so that's kind of another game we can throw into the 2019 boat. And so at the end of the day, when you look at the 2 years, I would say that while 2017 is right now, as of the here and now, is probably Nintendo's best year and is without question the best launch year any video game console has ever had in the history of video game consoles, I still think that when we look at what 2019 has to offer and the fact that Metroid and Bayonetta have a really great shot of also landing in 2019, I'm expecting 2019 to ultimately be the better year, which would make it Nintendo's new best year ever. They would have had that twice in the first 3 years of this current console. That is impressive, guys. This generation for Nintendo is like a Nintendo we haven't seen since the 16-bit days, really. It's really impressive, and I'm so excited to see 2019 turn out to be this. And they structured their game development so well when you look at it. They let the last 2 years of the Wii U absolutely fall apart, and that is a shame. It was a shame at that time for sure. But in hindsight, what they've done is they made sure to front load year one for the Switch and get their new console to launch to amazing sales success. And then yes, year two, being 2018, did take a little bit of a dip and did slow down, but it had some notable releases, to be fair. But they took a little bit of a dip in year two so that they could then have year three ready to go with another insane lineup of unbelievable games, first-party, third-party exclusive. It's just maddening what I think we can expect from 2019. It really is going to be the best year for the Switch and the best year for Nintendo of all time. I truly believe that, mostly because I am banking on Metroid Prime 4 making it out next year. And then, of course, there are other things to consider, too, when we start to look ahead, whether it's 2019 or beyond. There are a couple of other franchises we still haven't even heard from. The ones that jump out to me, obviously Pikmin. We're waiting on that Pikmin 4. We know it's coming. We know Nintendo and Miyamoto have been working on it. So that's got to be discussed at some point in the future. F-Zero is a series that I know people want to think is dead and Nintendo will never revisit it, but I don't believe that. I do think they have a plan for an F-Zero. Are they going to use Shinin of fast racing fame to make the game? Or are they going to make it their own internal team? I mean, there's, conversations all around on that topic. I don't know that I really have a dog in that fight. I just personally believe that Nintendo will revive F-Zero in the Switch era. Kid Icarus is another series that I think also has a good chance at showing up again. I think that they know that there was something to Kid Icarus Uprising. They know they made a great game. It was marred by having a weird control scheme and coming with like an extra little accessory device that was just awkward. But the game itself was amazing. It was a ton of fun, deep mechanics, great combat, incredible graphics and production value and music and voice acting. It was just awesome, and I don't think that Nintendo wants to let Kid Icarus go. I don't think that they're done with it. So I would also expect to see something like that, possibly in the Switch era. But at the end of the day, I guess it all remains to be seen what's going to happen. Right now, 2019 is going to be a banger, even if there was no Metroid or Bayonetta. When you look at everything else, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, Luigi's Mansion, New Super Mario Brothers, oh my gosh, it's just insane. Not to mention all of the other games that we still might get a 2019 release date for. So, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was interesting to look at 2019 and start to discuss, is this really primed to be Nintendo and the Switch's best year yet? And personally, I really think so. I mean, 2017 is so legendary, but I think year three is just going to blow it out of the water. And I'm really excited, man. I mean, we're going to be broke as hell just as Switch owners in 2019, let alone, I mean, let's not discount the fact that games coming to the other consoles and PC are also insanely good. 2019 might even be the best year in video game history across all three platforms and PC. It's going to be insane, you guys. Like I said, we're all going to be broke, and it's going to be really sad, but also really great at the same time. So that's what I have to say about 2019 Nintendo Switch stuff. What do you guys think? What did you think 2017 turned out to be? Do you think it was the best year ever? And do you think 2019 will be a better year? Do you think it'll be just as good? Do you think that it has no chance at being better than a year where Nintendo released Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, amongst many other things, a brand new IP, all in the same year? What side do you come down on, 2017 or 2019? It'd be very interesting to hear what you guys have to say. You've now heard my opinion, so I want to hear what you have to say, and that is it for me today. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Ro2R, and I'll catch you next time on another video.